Everyone has their opinion on every team's NHL logos. We will be talking about those and giving our thoughts on them and assigning them grades in this episode of Locked on Hurricanes.
You're Locked on Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you are listening to Locked on Hurricanes on the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. I am joined once again, as always, by my co-host, Andrew Schnittker. How are you doing on this Saturday afternoon, Andrew?
I'm great. I'm looking forward to this. We're going to have some fun with this one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking here. We're going to have some fun. We're going to grade NHL logos. Now, if you guys have been around the show for a long time, you'll remember me and my old co-host Walker. We did this back in the very, very early days of the show, but that's been several years now. And frankly, opinions have changed. Heck, there's new logos from new teams now. So we will be diving into all of those, and we are starting with the Eastern Conference. We're breaking these into two parts. We're going to have an Eastern Conference episode and a Western Conference episode, and we'll obviously have everything grouped by divisions. And we're going to start out with the Metro because this is a Carolina Hurricanes show. So we're going to start with the Carolina Hurricanes, and we were talking about this for a bit before we started recording, and this is a very interesting one because what is their primary logo at this point? Now, obviously, the one that's listed on like the NHL website, the one that's on a lot of branding and whatnot is the swirl logo. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it behind Andrew's head there. So that's the official primary logo, but they seem to be leaning more and more towards their alternate hockey stick logo as being their primary because they're using that more and more with branding. Heck, their black alternate jerseys are now their official home jerseys because everyone likes it, everyone thinks it looks cool. So it's in that weird limbo where it's almost like they want to have two primary logos, but they don't. So I'm gonna give 2 grades here. Obviously, like my official grade will be for the official logo, the swirl one, but I'll grade the hockey stick one as well, simply because they use that a lot, and it honestly in the next couple years it wouldn't surprise me if they just move over and make that the primary. Really wouldn't. But for the swirl logo, I'll give it we are going to be using the American education system grades from A+ down to F. We'll be using those for those of you guys that do not live in the United States. But I'll give it a B. It's fine. It's okay. But it does just I don't know. I like the new one better. It stands out a bit more, I guess. But yeah, the swirler, it's fine. It's unoffensive. Does nothing wrong, but it doesn't do anything exceptionally great in my opinion either. Now, if we're talking about the hockey stick one, I'll give that one an A. Not quite an A+. But I do really, really like that one. I think that one stands out a lot more. I think it's just better. Honestly, I know that's maybe not the most graceful way of putting it, but I don't know. It just feels more like a hockey team logo. obviously I know there's the hockey stick in it, and then you have the hurricane warning flags. You have the state of North Carolina in between the flags, and I know the swirl logo. It's supposed to symbolize a puck, but that one it just feels like the stick logo has a bit more at least going on, as a bit more appealing to me. But official grade for the official swirl primary logo for me is just going to be a B.
Yeah, I'll give the swirl primary logo like B plus A minus simply for the nostalgia factor. I mean, just seeing that logo,
Yeah.
makes me feel good, makes me feel happy,
Yeah,
brings back so many great memories. I mean, I do really like the red, black, and white color scheme, the way that it sets up. But I mean, you're right. And I mean, I'd probably go B plus. There's just nothing super imaginative about it these days. The hockey stick warning flag logo, I'm giving that an A plus. I just think it's a really great logo. The hockey stick with the warning flags, perfectly sets up, symbolizes the Carolina Hurricanes. I really like the red and black color scheme on the warning flags. And I'll tell you what puts it over the top for me. It's the little detail that the space in between the two warning flags forms the outline of like the state of North Carolina on a map. That just has always been so cool for me. Just such a fun detail. Great idea by whoever came up with that in the design. That is why that one gets an A plus for me. I love that so much.
Yeah, I love it too. I think, like I said, I think they should definitely just transition, just make that the official primary logo. It feels like that's what they want to do anyway. But moving on to the New Jersey Devils, I like this logo. It does exactly what it needs to do. It has the N and the J sort of, for New Jersey. Then it has, the little pitchfork, the devil tail for the Devils, New Jersey Devil for those of you that like cryptids. Uh, for this one, I give it an A. Again, it does everything it's supposed to do. I like the modern one better than the old one where it had the green on it. Not a huge fan of that one. It looks like, the printer ran out of ink. Not a fan of that one. But this one that they have now, much like the Hurricanes, I like the red and black color scheme. I think it works for them. Uh, while the red and black does get overused, for the Devils, it makes sense. Just like for the Hurricanes, it makes sense because hurricane warning flags are red and black. New Jersey Devils, red is generally associated with that kind of stuff. So again, it makes sense. But yeah, Devils logo, I am giving it an A.
Yeah, I'll give it an A as well. Like you said, I think, it just works really well with the N, the pitchfork, and the tail, kind of like we talked about, like with the Hurricanes, with the hockey stick and the warning flags. It's doing what it needs to do to kind of represent the team's name. I like the way, it's the red inside the white circle with the black outlines. I think everything's set up really well, with the little bit of negative space in the circle of the white, makes the red pop a little bit more, I think. So yeah, no, I promise Jared and I are not going to agree on every single logo,
No,
but I
we
will
will
give
not.
that one an A.
We will not. And honestly, I think this next one is going to be the one that sparks some debate first. And that is the New York Rangers. I'm not a fan of text logos at all, as you will come to see throughout these two episodes. But yeah, I'm not a fan of text logos. That immediately just knocks it down a grade for me. New York Range now with with that aside, that's going to be my major knock against it. I do not like text logos. But I do really like the shield. I love the classic look of it, the red, the white, and the blue. I think, all that's really clean. But again, I do not like text logos for the most part. I am giving this a B minus.
I'm going to give it like a C minus or a D,
Oh,
honestly.
really?
It's just, I
Wow.
mean, I'm sitting here looking at the logo page. I don't know. It's boring. It doesn't excite me at all. I mean, I'm just kind of like, eh. Like
The
there's so many
colors
better
pop.
options they could go with. The colors do pop. I do like the red, white, and blue, but yeah, like you said, the text, and just I don't know. Like even the shield, it's just kind of it's just boring. It just bores me. I'm just
Wow.
looking at it and I'm like, okay, like I like so many. Like if I was ranking all 32 logos, it would probably be bottom 5 for me. Like it's just
Wow.
the Rangers, they have so many better options too.
Yeah.
Like they have like a Statue of Liberty alternate logo that they've used in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really cool. Honestly, I probably even liked their blue jerseys with just like the diagonal Rangers writing on them better than this logo. I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me. I don't
Wow.
like it. I don't like it.
Wow. Bottom 5 logo, the New York Rangers for Andrew. Wow.
I mean, their logo really should probably just be a picture of the town of Cary, but that's
I think for me, what it is, again, it pops. The red, white, and blue, I like it. I'm always really like Shield. It has a lot of things I generally like in logos, but again, the text, not a fan there. So that's why, yeah, again, I went B minus. Yeah, if this one was red and black, then yeah, I'd probably be giving it a C minus or D. But again, I really like the colors. It stands out, which is really nice in a world of red and black logos. It does stand out, and it is clean for the most part. But again, they do have better options that they could use. But I feel like, they've stuck with this one for so long, can't really change it. And then plus, there's the nostalgia factor of like seeing on like Seinfeld and Friends, even though I'm not a fan of that show. Roast me in the comments, I guess, because I don't like Friends and I think it's unfunny. But it from like growing up, like watching those shows, like parents, and obviously they go with the Rangers and the Knicks a lot in those shows. So is that there as well? Again, I like the blue, I like the red, I like the white, but yeah, B minus for me, pretty mid for me. But we will be continuing with the Metro Division logos with our grades of those right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, we always stress how it is such a big, big thing to have a healthy foundation for your team and for your life as well. And our next partner, AG1, can help you do just that, folks. AG1 is the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. Again, having a strong foundation to your health is very, very important. One of the best things you can do in life is take care of yourself. AG1 replaces your multivitamin, probiotic, and more in one simple drink. Will have it so you can clean out that medicine cabinet, folks. Science driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food source nutrients, not a whole bunch of fillers and whatnot in this stuff, folks. AG1 is raising the standard for quality in the supplement category. AG1 helps you build your health foundation first. So, if a comprehensive nutritional supplement is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1 year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1/NHL network. That's drinkag1/NHL network, folks. Go check it out and build your strong foundation. Now, getting back to the NHL logos, we started with one New York team. Now we're going to go to the other, and that is the New York Islanders. And I do like this one better than the Rangers. But again, it's again still not the best in my opinion. The text is a lot less prominent in this one, which I do appreciate, and I do understand it is New York, so obviously the NY is going to be a part of that, and that's fine. I know that's you're in New York City, but that's gonna be a part of your logo. So, and I like the way that they have incorporated in the Y being a hockey stick. I think that's really clever, kind of like with the Hurricanes hockey stick logo of it having the state of North Carolina in between the Hurricane flags. I like that, and I like how they have Long Island in there as well. They're really, hey, we're up this Long Island, and this is, and they're not playing to the general New York. They're like, hey, this is who we are, and I do appreciate that. But again, and I like the orange in it as well. I like the color scheme of blue and orange. I do like that as well. But again, not really my favorite. I'm gonna give this one a B. It's a step above the Rangers, but again, not a big fan of text in logos. But this one is tolerable for me.
Yeah, I'm okay with text and logos if it's done well, and I feel like it is here. I like the font. I like the way it sets up. Like you said, I really like the, turning the Y into a hockey stick with the puck there. I think that shows a little creativity. I really like this blue, orange, white color combo.
Mhm.
I'll give this one a B plus. I like it. It's a good logo.
Okay. Oh wow, our first difference, and again, it's fine. Next up is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, I think Penguins logo is great. I love it. I and it does everything right for me. They're one of those scenes where I don't really think they've ever had a bad logo. And I think in the '90s Robo Penguin, I thought that was cool. The one they had when Jordan Stahl was there, of that beige-ish color or whatever, wasn't a huge fan of that, but that was more the color, not the logo. But the Penguins logo, I love it. It's a penguin playing hockey. What more do you
There you go.
want?
That's all you need. Yeah.
That's all you need for me. A plus.
Yeah, I'll give it an A plus as well. I really like it. It's a good logo. I said it's got, obviously Pittsburgh, all about that black and yellow color scheme. Anytime you think of Pittsburgh sports, that's what you're going to think of. And that it's just, I don't really have much more to say. It's a logo that accomplishes everything it needs to. I'll give it an A plus as well.
Yep, I 100% agree. And now going to the opposite side of the spectrum, the Washington Capitals, F. So much text. I hate it. It is so bland. I hate it. It is the worst logo in the NHL. And this is like taking aside like the Hurricanes and Capitals rivalry stuff. I do not like this logo. This is one of the worst logos in sports. It is just text. Why don't they make the Screaming Eagle their primary logo? That thing's cool.
Screaming Eagle is awesome.
That'd be A plus. A plus plus. That'd be the best logo in the NHL. But no, they go with the worst logo in the NHL. And possibly in all of sports.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that. But I'll go a little higher. I'll give it like a D plus. I'll give them some points for the stars and for the L forming the hockey stick with the puck. I think anytime you can incorporate that, it's good. But just an incredibly boring logo. Just blah. I mean, like you said, the Screaming Eagle is right there, man. I can't imagine, like, if I was a Capitals fan, I am like constantly beating down the doors of like team representatives. Like, why is it not the Screaming Eagle? Why? I want to ask Capitals fans, like, why do you stand for this? Why do you stand for having this boring logo when you know what could be with the Screaming Eagle? I don't get it.
Yeah, like, really. Let me do a quick scroll through the rest of these. With the exception of one, which even still it'd be bad. But every other logo in the NHL, you could get as a tattoo, and it would work. Some of them would be better than others. But who is getting that logo tattooed on them? Nobody. It sucks. You said the hockey stick is an L. Well, they're taking an L here. This logo sucks and is an F. I don't want to talk about it anymore. We're moving on.
That's good because we
Washington,
got 2 more Metro teams left.
You have the worst logo in sports. Philly, okay. Flyers, it's fine. Does everything it needs to. It's another one of those logos that like Pittsburgh had well, Pittsburgh has changed more than that, but Flyers logo's really never changed a whole lot, and it's fine. Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, it does what it needs to do. It's a P for Philly, and it has like wings because Flyers does what it needs to do. Give it a B. I mean, I really don't have any strong opinion about this logo one way or another.
Yeah, I'll give it an A minus. I've always really liked it. Like you said, it does what it needs to do. The winged P for Philadelphia Flyers, that's a little bit creative. I've always really liked the Flyers color scheme as a whole, the orange, black, and white. I really like that. The one knock I'll say against this logo is you've just kind of got like this one like little orange circle in the middle of the P. I'd love it if they could like make like go a little bit more, do a little bit more orange somehow. Like it's a little bit too much black and white, not enough orange. That's my only knock against it, but I'll give it a, A minus, B plus.
Yeah. Finally, rounding out the Metro is the Columbus Blue Jackets, and this is, oh man, I have mixed feelings on this one. Because it's not a great logo. It's not god awful either. There's no text here that works. I believe they have the state of Ohio flag in the logo as well, and I like that. But it is one that it is getting to the point, for me at least, where it's starting to look a little dated. It's looking very 2000s. Now, compared to their old logo, it looks like so much better. But again, it is getting to that point where it feels like they need a little bit of they need to update it a little bit more. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the whole minimalist logo thing that so many teams and companies and everything tries to do now, because sometimes that stuff does lose a lot of character. I mean, look at the freaking Harris Teeter logo now, one of the most recent ones. But this one, I don't necessarily know if this is the right way to describe it, but almost too much going on. Yeah, it's not bad.
No, I know what you're saying.
But it needs a bit of an update. I'm gonna go with a B minus on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C. I don't know. You're right. Like it's not like the color scheme is fine. It is. It's a little bit too much. I don't know. Just I can't even really put my finger. Like this logo has always just rubbed me the wrong way, just a little bit. Like I just don't really like it that much. The Blue Jackets have an alternate logo that they've used in the past. The circular logo, like with the cannon. Yeah, I've always liked that better.
That's an A. Much like Washington.
That's the one we were talking about. Yeah, that's one of my favorite alternate logos in the NHL. But yeah, the something about this current one, I don't know. I just don't like it. I'm giving it a C. I don't like looking at it. I just don't.
I will go C plus. I'm gonna knock it down. What gives it that little bit of a bump for me, as opposed to you, is the state of Ohio flag in it. I think that's a cool little touch.
See, that's actually a bump down for me, just because have you ever been to Ohio?
True, but also hey,
I know what you're saying.
Where they're
I'm
from.
Kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know everyone jokes about Ohio. Is Ohio a real place? I don't know. But moving over to the Atlantic Division, starting out with the Boston Bruins, yet another team that has, for the most part, kept the same general logo for a large majority of their history. They've obviously had other ones here and there. Winnie the Pooh Bear logo is one of my personal favorites for them.
Yeah, me too.
Even though some people may not like it, but their primary one, B with the spin wheel, does everything it needs to do. It's classic, synonymous with the Bruins. You know exactly what you're looking at when you look at it. I wish it had a little. Obviously, yes, the Bruins, they've been around for forever and ever and ever. So it's obviously synonymous with hockey, but I also wish they had a bit more hockey in the logo, I guess. Kind of like the Penguins with the penguin playing hockey or whatever. But again, this one does everything it needs to do. It's synonymous with hockey. It's synonymous with Boston sports. I give it an A.
Yeah, I'll give it an A as well. I've always liked it. It's just appealing to look at with the black, white, and yellow color scheme, the spoked B. It just sets up the whole space really well. Like you said, it's just, you can't beat the classics. It's just a classic hockey logo, classic sports logo. One of the other Bruins logos that I actually liked, you mentioned the Pooh Bear. I know you don't like text-based logos, but this is kind of a combination. It's the one, it's like a black and yellow logo, kind of like a little arch with like Bruins in the arch,
Yeah, I know
Boston at the top, at the bottom, and then there's like a bear in the middle of it.
That one's fine.
Yeah,
that's one I can tolerate. With it there, I can tolerate with that one. Yeah, for me, that one would get a B plus. That one it uses the text well, whereas the Washington Capitals does not.
There's teams on here that I'm like, why isn't your alternate logo your primary? But the Bruins are not one of those teams. The spoked B is what it needs to be.
It does everything they need to do. Next up, speak of the devil. Text logo, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and yeah, this one is a mixed bag for me. Again, not a huge fan of text, but this one does use its text well. And yeah, they don't really have anything as in the way of an alternate logo that would be a better choice. And their logo is a maple leaf. They are in Canada. Like it's some in that regard. It does everything it needs to do. It represents that team. Represents what it stands for. Where it's from or where the team is from. Does everything it needs to do. And the text does work well here. I will give the Toronto Maple Leafs one A minus.
Yeah, B plus, A minus. It's another classic. It's another one kind of synonymous with hockey. It's a good logo. Like I said, I like the blue and white color scheme. I've always liked the Leafs color scheme.
It's clean.
The text is fine. I think it's a good font. It's just not the reason I'm getting B plus. It's just not very creative. Like it's we're the Maple Leafs. Okay, it's a maple leaf, and then we'll write our name in it just in case you didn't know.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I like the color scheme a lot. It's fine. Like I said, it does what it needs to do. Like if a logo looks fine and does what it needs to do, then you're in that B plus A minus range for me, and that's this logo, so that's fine.
Yeah, I agree, and we got another logo like that coming up, and we will dive into that one right after this quick break, folks. All right, folks, we are back, and like Andrew was just saying, as long as a logo does what it needs to do, then you're generally going to be all right. And next up is the Tampa Bay Lightning. That logo does everything it needs to do perfectly. It has the same color scheme as the Maple Leafs, which is a color scheme that works great, the blue and white. Now, I did say earlier that sometimes that I'm not a huge fan of the minimalist style logo. A lot of teams and sports and companies and all that tend to go with these days. They lose a lot of character for me. And to an extent, yes, with the Lightning. But I also recognize that old one where it had like the Tampa Bay Lightning like around the bolt, it looks very of its time. It does. And yeah, I understand that, hey, yeah, you do need to evolve with the times and update. Like we were saying with Columbus, a little bit of an update could be in order for them. Tampa, they did update that, and they kept the same general, like, this is us, and they do it well with their logo. I will give the Tampa Bay Lightning a Bolt A minus.
I'm going A plus. This is one of my favorite logos in the NHL, partially because like I really didn't like their old logo that you're talking about. And then when they came out with this one, I was like, wow, that looks so much better. Like you said, so much more modern, so much cleaner. I really like the blue and white color scheme. I like the, blue lightning bolt dividing the white circle. It just uses the whole space very well. No, this logo just does it for me, man. I love this logo. I'm giving it an A+. It's I wouldn't say it's top 5 for me, but it's top 10 in the NHL.
All right.
It's a great logo.
All right. Yeah, I respect it. I do. It does what it needs to do well. Yeah, it like I said, everything it needs to do well. And next up, we have the other team in Florida, the Florida Panthers. Now, if we were talking the jumping panther with its claws out, A+, arguably the best logo in the NHL then. But we're not talking about that one. It is their shield panther logo. But I still really like this logo. Like I said earlier when we were talking about the New York Rangers, I really like shields in logos. I don't know why. I just do. I always have. I think they look cool. They do their thing well. There is text here, but it's pretty minimal, and it's not overbearing. It's not the primary focus of the logo like it is with the Rangers, with the Maple Leafs. It's not the primary thing. It's there to add to it, and it does it well. I also like how on their jerseys there is that little bit of an alteration for it, where I forget how it's flipped, but one will say Florida, the other will say Panthers between their home and away. I forget which is which, but I do like that as well. And they updated it again. We all still really like the jumping panther, and I think it would still work really well today, but they did update a little bit to this. It does look more modern, like you were saying with the Tampa Bay Lightning one. But I still think this works well. It's one of, in my opinion, the best logos in the NHL. I give this one an A.
Yeah, I'm going A+. I state of Florida doing it right with logos. And honestly, like you're talking about, they've got this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go A+
jumping,
as well. I'm changing
They've got the jumping panther. They've got the alternate that they used on that reverse retro jersey with like the crossed palm tree and hockey stick on the. Honestly, Florida Panthers have an S tier logo history.
They do.
There's not much else about that franchise's history that I would call S tier, but logos certainly. And I love this one.
This
too.
past season was S tier for them. He went to the Stanley Cup final.
That's fair. But I mean, I know.
But yeah, both give it A+ here. Yeah, I think this is great logo, one of the best in the league. Next up, we have the Buffalo Sabres. This is an interesting one, I think, because I personally really like this logo. I like the color scheme of the blue and yellow. Obviously, they have the swords there. And then it being in Buffalo, they have the buffalo. It just has a very classic look to it. It's very clean. I personally really like it. I give this one an A. Now, some of their jerseys, not the best. But
they can do a little better.
Just the logo itself, I'll go A- for Buffalo.
Yeah, I'll give it an A. It's a cool logo. Like you said, the blue, yellow, and white color scheme does what it needs to do. The cross swords with the buffalo, I mean, like we said, does what it needs to do. They're in Buffalo. They are the Sabres. There you go. The Sabres have got a pretty neat logo history as well. You remember the old one that was like the buffalo head with like the red outline?
Yep, that one was
really good.
S tier.
There was also the
slug.
Banana slug. That was
S tier.
An interesting logo.
S tier. Best logo in NHL history.
Yeah, but there's some great logo history in this division between, the Panthers, the Sabres. Well, I guess it's really just those two because the Bruins have had the same logo forever. I didn't like the Lightning's old logo. I think we have one more left that I'm not a huge fan of, but but Buffalo has done it right with their logos over the years. Like I said,
Banana slug S tier was a joke, by the way.
Else, hey man, it was unique. We'll give it that.
Unique, and that gives it unique. Points.
We'll get points for uniqueness, but no, the old like red outlined buffalo head was awesome.
And then how they brought it back with on the reverse retros too, with the white and the blue and the yellow. That was really cool also. Again, the one thing that could potentially derail this logo from A to A minus for me is simply because some of their jerseys, their jerseys just aren't great sometimes. And I think that's more of the design of the jerseys rather than the logo itself. But moving
You have to
on.
watch the Buffalo Sabres play hockey, and just like nobody wants that. So
Yeah, pretty much. But moving on to the Ottawa Senators, they definitely made the right choice when they moved back to the logo they currently have now, which is the side profile of Senator. That 3D one was pretty creepy. I did not like it, but this one is a lot better. Um, I would say the one, this is a logo. It does everything it needs to do. They're in Ottawa. There's that vague shape of an O. Then there's a senator, a Roman senator, that is. But does everything it needs to do. I would say the one thing I would add here is maybe some more highlights to where it's not so flat. But that's really it. Again, does everything it needs to do. I give it a B plus.
I'll go B minus. I mean, like you said, it does everything it needs to do. I'm just not.
And I like the
it just
retro
doesn't-
vibe of it.
Yeah, it does. It just doesn't excite me much. Like you said, it's flat. I don't know. It's just kind of plus like Senators is just kind of a boring team name overall. So at least like the logo represents what it's supposed to represent, but I'm just kind of like, eh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's totally understandable here. Now, next up is the Detroit Red Wings. This is one where the logo really hasn't changed much at all, ever. So,
Nor has it needed to.
yep, nor has it needed to. This is an A plus logo, baby. It is one of the best logos in sports.
Yeah, S
Yeah,
tier.
it is your Red Wings, and you're in Detroit. It is a tire with a Red Wing, and it works.
Not much.
It works perfectly. It's
It's
perfect.
Yeah, not much else you really need to say about this one. Love the way they set up the red and white color scheme. Love
Yep.
the logo. Love the design. Like I said, you can't beat the classics, and this certainly falls under that category. I love this logo.
100%. This is top
Probably
five.
top five, maybe top three.
Yeah, honestly, top five, maybe top three here. Next up, and finally, for rounding out the rest of the Eastern Conference, is the Montreal Canadiens. And this is an interesting one because it falls into a lot of things. It is a text logo, sort of, but it's also a classic logo that has changed very, very little over the course of their history. And in that regard, it works. And it is one of those. It is synonymous with hockey. Like, it is a classic logo, and it does everything it needs to do. Like, you look at, oh, that's Montreal Canadiens. Like, so it does everything it needs to do. But it is also one where, like, what does, aside from being such a classic logo, what does it do to stand out from the pack? The Jumping Panther, that stood out from the pack. The Mighty Ducks logo, that stood out from the pack. Whereas this one, aside from being such a classic, what does it do to stand out? In my opinion, not a whole lot. But again, it is classic. It does everything it needs to do really well. I will give the Montreal logo a B.
Yeah, I'll give it a B plus. Like you said, it's synonymous with hockey. There's something to be said, but if your brand works and this brand certainly worked for them, just stick to it
for what, over 100 years.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for longevity as well. So yeah, no, I mean, like I said, it doesn't excite me much, but it almost feels sacrilegious to go lower than like B plus for the Montreal Canadiens logo when you're talking about hockey.
Yeah, I agree, and it is what it is. It does what it needs to do. And we didn't differ a whole lot on these Eastern Conference logos, but I think when we get into the Western Conference, we may differ a bit more. I've had my rant for this series of the Washington Capitals. Absolutely terrible logo, which is one of the worst in sports. I will say that till the day I die. I hate it. But yeah, I will also say, again, just quick rapid fire of favorites. Hurricanes alternate logo is great. Pittsburgh Penguins, one of the best, if not the best in the league. I think there may be one other one that may take that title for me. Columbus needs a bit of an update. Boston, classic. Toronto, classic. Tampa does what they need to do. Florida, S tier logos in general. And then, Detroit, also one of the best ones in hockey. Do you have any?
No, I'll agree with you on that. Did you say Tampa?
Yeah, Tampa.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say Tampa. That was you on that one.
Okay, so Tampa and I mean, obviously, like you said, the Hurricanes alternate logo, the Penguins is really good, the Red Wings, and then the two Florida teams just both have logos that I absolutely love.
Yep, and let us know what you think of the Eastern Conference logos, your favorites, least favorites. Did you agree with us? Did you disagree with us? Let us know on Twitter at LO_Hurricanes, myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96, and Andrew on Twitter at ASchnitt53. Let us know what you guys think. Next episode, we will be diving into the Western Conference and their logos, which may have my favorite logo. We will be talking about that one in the next episode, folks. And as always, let's go Canes.